Welcome back to the Next 100. It's me, Molly. I'm really excited that you're here, and frankly, I can't believe you're here. And the reason why is because I've done a terrible job of marketing this podcast, and so I don't know if any of you are actually listening or not, but I'm still going to provide some value. And that brings me to what I want to talk about today, and that's the value of small audiences. So we produce a lot of podcasts for our clients, large clients, small clients, all types of clients. And unless it's a public health messaging situation, volume is not the answer, right? Quantity is not always the answer. In fact, quality over quantity is almost always the answer. And so I want to really just kind of dive in on that a little bit. You know, I think that we have been trapped by this TikTok generation where we feel like everything has to have 1 million views. You have to have lots of likes. I'm sure you've done it before where you've posted. I've done it where I posted something, it didn't get as many likes as I wanted it to, so I took it down. Sometimes it was because it was a bad joke and it didn't land and I probably shouldn't have said it in the first place. But a lot of times it's because there's an insecurity there, right? You know, you want to make sure that you're being heard, seen. It's like hard to put yourself out there. And then you get crickets back and you think, man, I'm a fool. I shouldn't be doing this, right? Or maybe you've been working on your podcast and you're spending a lot of time on it. You're lining up guests, you're doing editing, you're doing all these things. Even if you have a production house editing your podcast, which I always recommend, you're still spending time on this thing. And so you can put a lot of effort in your podcast and go and be like, 7 downloads, man, that sucks. Or 50 downloads, that sucks, right? And I hear you, right? You know, if we're going to compare ourselves to Joe Rogan or Howard Stern or somebody with a whole lot of backing and, you know, time under their belt, then like, sure, you're going to feel less than. But if I told you that there was 10 people waiting to talk to you every Monday morning in a conference room, or even better, waiting to hear what you had to say, right? If there was 10 people in a room every single Monday waiting to hear what you had to say, and they were going to go implement that in their life or share it with other people, or it was meant to enrich their life. Isn't that why any of us do a podcast? It's either to get business or enrich people's lives or feel more connected or, you know, if you're smart, all the above, right? But wouldn't you feel really great if that many people wanted to hear what you had to say? How many times have you gone to present in a networking meeting or in a situation where, you know, I've presented at some conventions, you know, and I was not on the main stage. I was not a keynote speaker. I was in a little side janky room, and sometimes ain't nobody there but a handful of people. But it doesn't matter because every time I have done that, I have walked away with like a great connection, you know, maybe a business networking opportunity, a new friendship. You know, it's rare when I get in front of people that something positive doesn't come from it. And so I just really want to remind you, right? If you're getting 50 downloads a week on your podcast, that is super, super solid. If you're getting anybody to listen to your podcast at all or hear your messaging at all, it's working. And it's not going to feel like it's working for a long time because that's just how things work. Social media, SEO strategies, right? Because ultimately a podcast is SEO. But anything that you're doing is going to take a little bit of time to get some traction. And so don't be fooled by TikTok and Reels and that you got to get thousands or millions and, you know, because let's really talk about what would happen. What would happen tomorrow if your business went viral? Could you handle it? You know, it's easy to get stuck and like trapped in this idea. And I do it too. I'm watching Reels in Spanish. I don't even know what they're saying. I'm still watching that shit. And it's easy to be like, oh, I want to post that song because I want to get a bunch of, you know, but what is that? What are all those views going to do for me? Are those people going to convert? Are they going to do discovery calls with me? Are they going to even remember me? Does it matter? Are my clients on Instagram? Is that why I'm doing it in the first place? Right. So don't get wrapped up in this whole, you know, keeping up with the Joneses or trying to keep up with your peers or be everywhere or be Gary Vee and making 100 pieces of content a day. Because, you know, I'm not sure that that's it, right? Like there's definitely a line of like getting your content out, especially let's say if you're a founder of a tech startup or a company and you just got funded and your story got you the money, but now you need to tell the world about your company and your story. You know, sure, then you need volume, but that's all pay to play. Like if you think all these people getting all these downloads or all these likes on their posts that aren't just on a personal page, if you don't think they're paying for that, man, let me tell you, I got something to tell you. It is all pay to play. Now, Granted, everybody's freaking out over the TikTok algorithm right now, or the Instagram, because it's more like TikTok. And so you're probably seeing accounts that you don't actually follow. And so, yeah, yada, yada, swoop, swoop. The point is that everything is pay to play. And if you really want to get in front of your right audience, then it's going to take time. And so a podcast is a great way to eliminate like a third party platform like Facebook. Like, I don't want to pay Facebook for ads. I really don't, They're effective at times for sure, but is that really where I want to spend my money? For me, I would rather produce a podcast, like put time and effort into the content, provide value for my listeners, reach out in ways to help people. And maybe some of you will call me for some consultancy, or maybe you'll hire CarCast Media to build your website or whatever, right? And so it's all about getting in front of people and providing some value and, never taking for granted your numbers, even if they're really low, because you don't have to be the biggest numbers in the room and you don't have to go viral. And you really want to consider, what does that mean for your business? I know personally, if Heartcast Media got 100 brand new clients tomorrow, it would be really bad for my business. We would have to hire new people. It would be a nightmare, honestly. I don't want to go viral, so don't go sharing my content like crazy people. Please. You know what I'm saying? I got to maintain this. I should have put my phone on silent. It's too late now. Oh no, I'm imperfect. So that's all I got to say for you today. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Never underestimate the power of a small audience. 50 downloads is super solid. 100 downloads is solid. 5,000 downloads is solid too. But again, what's the goal? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? And how many people is it really going to take to get there? So if you're following me, I appreciate you. I'm going to do a better job marketing. And again, I appreciate the value of my small audience, all three of you. Thank you for being here. And I'll catch you on the next one. Yo. I'm not going to leave without hitting you with a fresh book report. Like my friend Bomani Arma would say, read a book. Anyway, we'll get to that later. But you know me, I love to read. Maybe you don't know that about me, but I love to read because it makes me feel smarter. And I learn something every time. And I've really been focused on business development books and personal development books, but more business development, which is where a lot of this information comes from. And so this week's book is the $1 Million One-Person Business by Elaine Pofeldt. Make great money, work the way you like, have the life you want. I feel like that tagline could use a little work. That really roll off the tongue. So, a couple things. I love hearing women's voices talking about making money in business development because there's not enough of that in the space. She gives tons of practical information. To me, it's a little bit too broad of a net, and it's like she doesn't really go deep on anything. However, there's some really good gems in there, like getting paid up front and how to raise money and blah, blah. It's just some real general guidelines, right? If you're trying to do any one of the things that she's recommending, you're going to need to get a lot more information. However, as a giant broad stroke of you can actually make $1 million a year in a one-person business, I'm about that life because, it's all about mindset, right? And when you think that you can't, then you can't. And if you think that you can, you can't. And it's not always that easy. If you're trying to make $1 million selling like pretzels, you might have a hard time with that one because there's only 2 pretzel companies for a reason, right? You know what I'm saying? There might be more. But point is, obviously not every business will work, but the idea is that a one-person business could make $1 million. And I'm about that life, Elaine. That's her name, I think, Elaine. So yeah, so I would say this is a great book to read. I really wanted to make a point to read a lot more women's voices in 2022, and I admittedly really struggled finding more titles by women, especially more titles that were really had a voice that I could listen to. And I don't mean that in a superficial way, but sometimes it's just a little too surface or a little too just a little too surface for me, but I thought this was good. Now, if I had to give it out of 5 stars, I'd probably give it a 3.5. Do I regret listening to it? No. Right? So there you go. It wasn't that long. I love listening to books super fast. My mom's from Brooklyn. My dad's from the Bronx. That shit comes super normal for me. And so, yeah, man, I would say this is a great book. If you're interested in reading it, check it out. Link is in the description. And yeah, let me know what you thought. I would love some feedback. Sometimes I can be a little bit of an asshole and maybe I missed some things. So let me know. Hit me with some feedback. All in all, great book. I just got some real high standards from my ladies and the information, but all in all, solid book. So, all right, see you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in to the Next 100, sponsored by Heartcast Media. We are a digital media creative agency focusing on branding, marketing, strategy, and amplification. From personal branding to podcasting, we've got you covered. And to continue this conversation, join me on Instagram. My personal account is Molly D. Ruland, and of course, you can also find us at Heartcast Media. That's where the really good stuff is going down. So join me there. Let's continue the conversation, and until next week, have a good one.